exercise 3-5, creating a nested door family. So to create a nested door family, we're going to go to the big R. We're going to select New Family. And in the Imperial folder that pops up, we're going to scroll down until we find Door. So there's Door right there. We're going to say Open. We're going to select the interior view. And you can see that this template already has some parameters set up in it. So we're going to select View 1, 3D View, and we're going to just inspect this model. So if we select the center part here, this is an opening cut in this door. It's not the door panel. And if we click on this, this is the frame mullion around the door. If we rotate the model and click on the back, it's also a frame and a mullion. Okay, we are going to select up here Family Types, and under Family Types we are going to select New. And we want to name this family Exterior 6'10" by 3'10". Now we're going to say OK, and then we want to enter the correct height and width for this. So this is supposed to be 6 foot 10 inches, and then down here we have 3 feet 10 inches. And then we're going to hit apply. And you saw the door actually hopped and made itself a little wider. Okay, so now we're going to select New again, and we're going to type in a different door size, 6'10" by 3'2". Okay, once you have your size typed in there, we're going to say OK, and then we need to change the dimensions in here. So this should be 3 foot 2 inches, and then we're going to hit apply, and you'll see the door shrinks down to 2 inches. Now we're going to select a new, and we're going to create a new one called Exterior 7'2" by 3'10". Okay, once you have your name typed in the box, we'll say OK. And then in the height, we want to put 7 foot 2 inches. And then in the width, we've got 3 foot 10 inches. And then we're going to hit apply. See the door keeps changing. Now we're going to say OK to close the Family Types dialog box. We're going to activate the reference level view of the floor plan. Make sure you got the floor plan, not the ceiling plan. And we're going to activate the Create Ribbon tool, and we're looking for the reference line. So click on reference line. We're going to draw an angled line above the door opening. So over here, we want to draw an angled line that goes above the door opening. And it doesn't say what the angle is quite yet, so I'm just going to go ahead and put it anywhere. Okay, so we need to align the end point, which I kind of already did, didn't I? Because I aligned it down here. Okay, once your line is aligned with the door, we're going to use Annotate Tool and Angular Alignment, and we're going to select this first reference line and then the angled line and pull our dimension out. So this is supposed to be 41 and mine's 40. So real quick, I just click on the line I want to move. It turns the dimensions blue, which means you can edit them. And then I type in 41 and hit enter. Then I'm going to click on the dimension, click add parameter, and I'm going to name the parameter door swing. And I want to enable instance here. And then say OK. We want to change the door swing parameters, so we're going to click on the angle, click this, and we want to change the default from 41 degrees to 90 degrees. And then we're going to hit apply, and it should rotate properly. If it doesn't, it means I didn't lock it correctly. And you can see the door swing isn't 90 because it's pointing straight up in the air. So we're going to go to the insert ribbon next, and we're going to select load family. And we want to select the door panel created at the start of the exercise. If you can't find your door panel you created with the glass, one thing that I suggest that you do is you can click on them too and see a little view of what each one looks like. But if you can't find the one that you created in the previous exercise, you can open it, actually, wherever you saved it. So I saved mine. On that start, just let me block off where okay, sorry, I just wanted to block off that location. So I open the door panel, and what you can do is when you open that exercise, you can say load into project. So I can load this into the project I'm working on. So I'm going to say load into project, and then I can load it into this project right here. Now see, I'm in a floor plan view and it's showing me an elevation, so that's kind of confusing. I can click in here though, and then I'm just going to delete it out. So even though I deleted it out of the project, if I look under families, it's actually going to be in here still. So there's my generic model that I loaded in. So again, if you can't do it through load into, you can, or in the insert, you can go load into project by just opening the previous file. So down here in the project browser, just expand the generic models, click on your exercise that you loaded in, that door. Mine says exercise 3-4, whatever you named yours. Right click, and we want to select type properties. Sorry, I had to hit the plus button one more time. Now we go to type properties. Okay, so in the type properties, we're going to click next to width. So we have to find width. Right here, we're going to click next to it, and we want to double check that this is on width right here, and then we're going to say OK. And then next to height, we're going to click the button right here, and we want to select the type parameter associated with that, so we're going to select height, and we're going to say OK. And next to thickness, we're going to click on the button here, and we're going to make sure that this says thickness, and we're going to say OK. So now the width, thickness, and height are all being controlled by family type parameters, so we're going to say OK, and then we're going to activate view 1. And we're going to orient the view so we're looking at the side of the door where the reference line is controlling the door swing. So we want to look on this side. We're going to activate the Create Ribbon tab, and we're going to set the work plane. We want to enable Pick a Plane, and we're going to say OK, and then we want to pick this horizontal line hosted by the reference plane. Oops, and you may have to, it didn't do it for me, you may have to hit the tab key if you can't get it, and it should cycle through. If it's having a hard time doing it, sometimes you have to repeatedly hit tab until it gets to that horizontal line. It does not want to do it. I'm actually going to try picking it from the other side. Okay, so the easiest thing to do is to pick a plane and just to pick this green line here in the horizontal. So go ahead and do that. And then you can just stretch this work plane zone a little bit. So stretch it so it goes back to the door opening. And then that way, this will be the plane that you're working in. Okay. We are going to right click on the door panel down here, which should be apparently called Door Panel Mahogany. So why don't I rename it real quick so that we're all on the same page. Okay, we're going to right click on the Door Panel Mahogany, and we're going to select Create an Instance. And then on the ribbon up here, we're going to say Place on a Work Plane. And then we are going to bring this door down, and we're going to press the space bar to rotate the door so it is aligned with the reference line, which is interesting because the reference line was at 90 degrees, and it looks like they still wanted it to be at 41. So I'm going to align it so it's at 90 degrees. Okay. And I'm going to check now to see that it's at the end point, and it is not. So I want to click on it, and I want to try to move it from endpoint to endpoint. There we go. Okay, and it's okay if it's at 90 for now. Now I'm going to select the door panel itself, okay, and I'm going to select Edit Work Plane on the ribbon. So the door, Edit Work Plane, and it says the door panel should be hosted by the reference line, and which it is, and then we're going to say OK. Then we're going to select Family Types, and we're going to adjust the door swing and verify that the door moves. Okay, so we're going to change the door swing default from 90 degrees to 15 degrees, and we're going to hit apply. I'm just going to move my box to see if it moved. Yeah, and it's moving. All right, and let's go back. How about let's do 45 degrees, and we'll hit apply. Now the only thing is it seems to be moving at the wrong end, so let's see if we can adjust that. Okay, so what I realized is I did not draw my reference line right, so I had to just delete that door panel, but it's still in here. And I'm just going to start over again on that page 3-49 and follow the steps a little more carefully. Okay, so I drew a line, and then it wanted me to use the Align tool to click this line. You highlight over this line and hit Tab until it touches the endpoint, okay? You can't lock it yet because it's got to be aligned up here. So what I'm going to do is click on this line, click on this little dot, move it up to this endpoint, and then I'm going to lock that button. Okay, and now I'm going to annotate with the angular dimension from here to here, and this is supposed to be 41 degrees. Okay, so I just didn't have that correctly. That happens sometimes. And now I'm going to skip back to view 1, and we're going to go back to page 3-52, and we're going to insert the door here. So again, we are going to create, we're going to right click on this and say create instance, and then we can place the door on this reference line. And now for some reason it wants to lay flat. Well that's, oh, because we have to place on workspace. There we go. Look at it. And then we're going to select this line right here. Okay. Oh, and I had to hit the space bar. Sorry, I'm rushing because I'm about to run out of time. So, create instance, place on workspace, come over here, hit the space bar until it's on it. There we go. Bring it back to the endpoint and click. Perfect. Okay, so now just check to make sure your door moves and the sizes change. And then we're going to launch the family type style. Okay, and we're going to create a new parameter, and we're going to call this exterior mullion, and we want to make sure that the group is under material. So exterior mullion, group materials and finishes, we say okay. Okay, okie doke. So I noticed the book was a little strange in the way it worded the instructions here, so I'm going to do maybe a little bit backwards. But I'm going to click on the frame. This is going to be the interior frame. And I'm going to click over here next to material. And I'm going to make a new parameter. And I'm going to call this exterior mullion. And I want to make sure that's under materials and finishes. And I'm going to say OK. And then OK. And then I'm going to change that material type for exterior mullion to, you know what, actually first, before I did that, sorry, I'm going in reverse here. Oh boy. I'm going to click on the frame, change this material to mahogany, say OK, and then I'm going to rename it with the new parameter exterior mullion. Okay. And OK. And then that locks that mahogany finish into place. I'm going to put it under realistic so we can see those changes. Then I'm going to rotate around to the inside, click on this inside frame, change the material to paint canvas, say OK, and then I'm going to rename this one with a new parameter interior mullion. Interior mullion, materials and finishes, and say OK, and then that locks that color in. Okay, so now the materials are assigned to each of those frames. I'm going to rotate that just so I can see it. I'm going to launch the family types, and I'm going to select sort parameters in descending order. So that's down here, right here, sort parameters in descending order. And then you can just see how the parameters have reorganized themselves. Okay, so that could be helpful if you're looking for something.